So the first question, Babaji, is what are the characteristics of a spiritual person?
See, a person who is able to live in the awareness of him or herself as that soul, that spirit form, that infinite form, that consciousness of existence. Awareness is most important thing. When you are living in this world also, just like now, whatever you might be doing, you might become a businessman or you might become any king or anywhere, but first awareness is by your personality, your name. So that is the awareness. Like that, now it needs to be that you need to be in the awareness that you are that spirit, you are that. So when the consciousness is settled there, then you are able to apply your mind to whatever you are doing without giving rise to any anxiousness or brooding or such wild imaginations. Just you will concentrate on the work that you have to do. You finish, but you always remain in the awareness of what you are. So this is a basic idea of the spiritual life. If one has to be spiritual.
Thank you, Babaji. Babaji sometimes speaks about people of this world being mature and immature rather than good or bad. What does Babaji mean by this?
Often, when we see in the society of humans, when they behave, sometimes they might be behaving very badly, always telling lies. They cannot, it seems that they cannot help. They have become so habitual. So they don't have that knowledge, wisdom of it's just like remember what Jesus said in the end, forgive them for they know not what they are doing. That type. People go on telling like 100 times you tell them. People many times they come and sit in front of us and they listen to us, but they are unable to adopt all the methods once advised, and they go on doing their own things. That is what is known as the swabhava, means a person's acquired habit of the attitude. So it goes on like that one. So that is immaturity. If a person is more selfish and narrow minded, always in thinking, he cannot think of welfare of anybody else, society, country, or the world. He just bothers about himself. 24 hours, he cannot understand anything else. So these are the things we can define as immaturity. Such a person, his behavior also will be immature. What he talks, he won't understand. In the midst of people, also, he might be talking totally nonsense, accusing others all the time. So, on the other hand, if a person is more matured, he is able to restrain himself, keep himself as quiet as possible, unnecessarily not go on gossiping and like a chatterbox. You enter an atmosphere, instead of trying to understand the atmosphere, you try to talkative person. You cannot help. And also, when you are not talking, you are able to restrain yourself. This comes when you have practiced lot of spiritual exercises, long time spiritual exercises like meditation and the repetition of a mantra, a worship in the name of the divine or a guru, any such things. All these things, chants, can be very helpful to keep the mind totally non-violent, and a person can talk only when it is necessary, and when it is not necessary doesn't talk. He is not a chatterbox, not a talkative person. So such a person will be very matured. He is able to consider about each other's, about a larger cause, about society, about country, about the world. So always will be praying. So when there is suffering, will feel very sad and become compassionate. So these are all the symptoms of being matured. A matured person will be spiritual, in my opinion. If a person is spiritual, he will be very matured in his behavior in the world. He won't be too selfish and narrow minded.
Thank you, Babaji. So you touched on there about caring for other people and consideration for other people. But there's so much suffering and troubles in the world. Can a spiritual person get involved in helping people, or could they get too involved in helping people?
You see, anybody can get involved in helping others. Whatever is possible. You may not be changed the whole world. You may not be able to help the whole world in one day. If you are to the extent what Swamiji used to tell, even if you can help one person, you can feel so satisfied. Even if you are unable to help somebody, at least if you don't bother, that also is a great help when you don't bother anybody. So, like that, you have to adopt attitude. At the same time, you must keep yourself totally matured, well in the awareness of the self. And in addition to that, you can always help somebody 2, 3, 10, whatever that is possible.
So I think that sort of leads to another question where somebody asked, how do we get the balance between being compassionate and detached?
See, compassionate means we love. At the same time, we don't consider such a thing of this world as a fundamental reality and become emotional. We cannot lose our peace, afford to lose our peace. So we need to be in the awareness of what the truth is. We just play a role, we help somebody. So just like if you are a medical expert, a doctor, we may have to be attending so many people suffering in the world. So if we also start suffering mentally, then we become a patient and we cannot help anybody. So it is important. Like Baba also tries to help so many hundreds of people around the world who write to him for prayers, for blessings, for counseling, all these things. We do help them, we are compassionate. When somebody prays, when somebody requests, we become compassionate, but not too much attached materialistically, considering any such thing as the fundamental reality. We counsel them, we help them, we convey our love, we try to consider, when we love somebody, we try to consider about their welfare also. We always pray for them with our Guru, with the Divine, always, but at the same time remain detached, knowing very well that everything is impermanent and it is not a fundamental reality. Shape changes. So, thus, keeping ourselves alert so we can remain detached. Compassion itself doesn't mean that you have to become attached mentally. So, and then if you lose that one, if you are unable to help, then you should not lose your peace and you should not start crying, you should not bang your head. Such things must not happen. So, this helps when you practice spiritual exercises every day, then you will be more matured. You can help anybody. Often people misunderstand. If we are sitting in a corner and meditating, is it not selfishness that we simply meditate for ourselves instead of helping others? You can help better if you become a matured person. So for that you have to meditate. I would recommend meditate or do repeat any mantras, do singing devotional songs. All these things can help to tune in your mind to keep it non-violent, more restrained. Then you can help somebody. So you want to teach others, first you have to learn, you have to become teacher. Before you are learning anything, you try to teach others, you will end up teaching wrong things always. Often this is what we get to see in the society, who try to become urgently a guru, they end up teaching wrong things, and like half baked beans, what you tell. So that type of things must not happen. So thus you can be compassionate, and you can be matured, and you can remain detached. This is important.
Thank you, Babaji. So you talked about not becoming emotional. Um, but some people may find that a bit scary because people have sometimes spoken about how important the sense of love is in their life. How
In
do
my
you?
opinion, love itself is not becoming emotional. You can love. That doesn't mean that you have to cry and you have to jump, you have to bang your head, you have to express so much. Silently also you can love. So emotions can be your strength and it can become your weakness. Due to emotion, if you are not under your control, if you are unable to control your mind, you might end up doing a wrong thing to your own people. Suppose somebody loves me and they know that if a certain thing is given is not good for the health of Baba, but because they love, they become emotional and, oh, I have cooked for your sake, you must eat. We know very well that is not good, that's bad news for us. I keep saying, no, sorry, don't bother, no, they become very emotional, no, I cooked only for yourself, so you must eat a little bit, Babaji, please, a little bit. So like that, emotion plus love, they are going to harm my physical body. And they can be the loser if this physical body goes. Often they don't understand because they are emotional. So, this is what can happen when you are emotional and unable to control yourself. So, that's why we always alert you love. Love is something else. When you really love, you need to have the proper wisdom application also. How much you love, what is it that you have to love? So, that is what is important. I love you all, but I should not be pampering you all. I tell, oh, come on, let us sit and gossip for 1 hour. Don't worry. 2 sessions of gossip, 1 hour gossip. You don't have to meditate because I love you all. I don't want to trouble you all by asking you to meditate. So that is not proper. If I really love you all, I want you all to meditate. I want you all to achieve it for yourself. I want you all to be disciplined, matured. All these things are important. Just like a mother would like the child to be properly cultured, corrected, disciplined. So it may take a little such tough measures sometimes as and when it is necessary. But at all times, mother is totally aware that this is my child. So she won't be harming the child ever. The same way, I would not like to harm you all. I would like to take you out of any harmful situations and make you all totally matured. You don't have to depend on me always. You become matured and you can sort out your problems. Like that.
Thank you, Babaji. So you mentioned earlier how sometimes people may behave wrongly or even badly if they're particularly immature people as well. How does a spiritual person handle that? How does Babaji handle that when people, maybe for good intentions or even for bad intentions, behave wrongly?
First thing, it depends. We make a judgment at a higher level. What is it that they are trying to harm? Suppose if they are trying to harm my physical body, I have to act upon to defend it first. That doesn't mean that I am going to hate a person. Like if somebody tries to do any harm to the institution that we are living, a monastery that we are living and we are taking care on behalf of our Guru had asked, if somebody tries to harm this institution or the monastery, we will definitely defend, we will take all tough measures to defend. Even then also, there will not be any personal hatred. It is not the personality clash. It is for a larger cause that we take action, such thing. So that type of things will be necessary that we take. And then we try to talk to the people, talk to the other person who is trying to harm. Don't do this one. Let us try to this. You also live peacefully. Let us also live peacefully. We try to find all avenues that is available to make peace with. So we have to become tough and fight only when everything is finished. No other avenue is left. If the other person becomes stubborn, and like that's how in Mahabharata war also, if you have read the stories, from Pandava's side, they tried to avoid the war as much as possible, tried to explore all avenues to make peace. It is after the agreement, contract, that the 12 years of living in the forest and 1 year of living in incognito, that is over. Now you give back our kingdom. No, I won't give. Finally, they said, at least give us 5 small villages so that we can live peaceful on our own, and you have your kingdom, your empire. That also was not agreeing. Everybody tried. Ambassadors went and spoke. Nothing happened. Then the war came. Often, sometimes, some people speak that Bhagavad Gita teaches violence and war. No, not at all. Bhagavad Gita does not teach violence and war. It teaches peace. Only if a war is imposed on you, then considering that as your duty for establishment of peace, then you fight the war. So you do it or die, that type of thing. So we have to live like this in this world, because this is not the time that if somebody slaps you on one cheek, you simply show another cheek. He will slap on that also and break all your 32 teeth. Times are over. You see, human beings have become more violent. 60, 70 years ago, 100 years ago, some people, some leaders led non-violently, simply by protesting. All these things happen. But today's world and government powers have changed. They won't simply accept any such non-violent. They can harm even a non-violent person also. They can kill, they can break the head. One has to be very careful. We have to deal. Human mind has deteriorated. Like I always tell that 50 years ago in the movies also we used to see, even a villain used to be quite mild, only with a knife. So imagine now, a villain is so violent. So we will have to be careful, defend ourselves. At the same time, if we are spiritually matured, we will not lose our peace. We will not lose stability of our mind. We will show our anger only that much that is necessary, and then forget about it. We cannot afford to keep thinking the enemy all the 24 hours. Then my mind will become a casualty. That is not proper. So that is how we live in this world. It is necessary.
Thank you, Babaji. You talk about accepting the results. Should we always accept the results of anything that happens to us?
You see, the results here means you have to understand, first you must put the effort. After putting in efforts, in spite of your best efforts, if the thing doesn't happen, if the result is against what you are trying, and when you are helpless, then you accept it courageously, peacefully, graciously. That's what it is. So till then you keep trying as much as possible. Just like we always talk of a soldier, he accepts both. He knows he will do or he will die. As much as possible he will try to do it. If it's beyond his capabilities and he gets killed, then he accepts that death graciously, honorably, peacefully. Such a death is considered as glorious, valorous, a valiant death.
Thank you, Babaji. I think that links to another question somebody asked about karma or destiny. Which is it?
Karma is your job. You do it. You try. Destiny is results. Because the results are not in your hand. You can try what you want to achieve. You can try to do it. That you must not give up. That is karma. Here, that is what karma means, action here. Your efforts, your purushartha. So when results come, you accept it as a destiny. Before putting in effort, don't sit in a corner that destiny, everything, whatever the many people argue, if everything has to happen according to destiny or whatever God wishes, then why should we try for anything? I tell ki, idiot, whatever you have to try also is God's wishes. Try for that. When a guru is sitting in front of you asking you to meditate, why don't you try to meditate first? That is also the divine's wishes. So it is always very tricky situation. Very often people can misunderstand the teachings about destiny and karma. Is always confusing for people. Destiny is only when the results comes, you accept that this was to happen, this happened. So you are also part of the karma only. You are also part of the destiny. We tell that if you are positive, you can be shaping better positive destiny for yourself. If you are negative, you can be shaping a negative destiny for yourself. That's why Purushartha is recommended. You must put in effort. And also Shri Krishna talks in Bhagavad Gita, Atma is the Atman's best friend and Atman is the Atman's worst enemy. That means, simple language, you can be your best friend and you can be your worst enemy. You try and meditate and achieve, you are your best friend. You have done it. You become lazy and you keep postponing, you don't want to achieve any such things, you are your worst enemy. And then don't try to blame. Often, sometimes, people, for many years, they don't come to me, see me, to come to ashram, any such thing. And they are very cunning. They come, hey, what happened? For a long time you didn't come. Baba, you didn't call me. Then I also learned to be a little bit clever. I will call you only when you have really interested, when you are really devoted, then I will call you. What else to tell to such people? They don't put in efforts, they don't want to come. But put it on me when it happens. You didn't call me, that's why I could not come. So if you want to come, I will call you definitely.
Thank you, Babaji. So, Babaji, when sometimes we're inspired to do meditation or spiritual practice, but then sometimes there's almost a voice inside us that comes up with all these excuses as to why not. What is it that's coming from within inside us, giving us these different messages?
That is the habits of the mind. You have become habitual. So it weighs always. So if you have become more habitual to give excuses, you will always give excuses. Or if you have become habitual to meditate, you will always try to meditate. You will be restless. Like Swamiji used to tell, ki you have to come here, you want to come here. If there is any other engagement, like a wedding ceremony with relatives, any other engagement, give them an excuse. No, I have to go for meditation today, I have to go to my guru. Sorry, I cannot attend the wedding. No, people won't do that. People will give excuse not to come to the guru easily. Oh, Guruji, I cannot meditate today, I have to attend a wedding party, I have to attend a reception, I have to go this. So thus, they lose always. They keep giving excuses. So it is the strength of willpower that you have to exercise. Have to meditate, you understand the need, then you will do that one. So you cannot stop earning throughout the year. Suppose all the 12 months there is going to be family weddings. You cannot afford to keep attending such weddings all the time, giving up your job and your earning. Finally, you will tell, I cannot come for weddings anymore, I have to do some earning. Otherwise, how will I eat? How will I look after my family? So when such a thing comes, then you understand. In the same way, you have to understand there is a time bomb. The heart is here. Any moment it can stop. Before death shall claim thee, Arjuna. So that's what we have to understand. Then you will not give up. You will not give any excuse, no excuses. Not that you wait for inspiration, you draw inspiration. Think about the lives of such great people who achieved, who worked for it, day in and night. Day and night they worked for that, to achieve the peace of mind, to quieten the mind. They meditated. They also could have gone to get married. They could have, Swamiji could have gone to keep playing all the times at the age of 14. But he sat. The divine came and made him to sit. After that, it was his efforts. He was grinded. Swamiji used to tell, Lord Shiva came and made me to sit for tapas, but afterwards he grinded me. He cut me into pieces. He tested. But I wouldn't give up. That is the effort. Purushartha. That is necessary.
It seems, Babaji, that looking at Swamiji's life and also yours, it takes a superhuman determination to be able to achieve what Swamiji and you did.
You see, it is actually a human effort. There is really nothing of superhuman effort. Whatever mind you have now as a human is one of the most powerful, highest potency things. So you have to remain simply disciplined, determined. In this world, what I have seen generally, whenever a human being has done with full efforts, discipline, dedication, perfectly, so then other people tend to think, oh, he is a superhuman. Because they were unable to do it. They didn't have that willpower, they didn't exercise, they didn't put in effort. And they think, oh, Swamiji was a superhuman, that we cannot do like that. Always we keep thinking, we try to belittle ourselves. But the Guru always says, if I did, you also can do it. You sit down and just watch in between eyebrows. That's what I did. Swamiji used to say, I just watched in between eyebrows and kept on sitting, that was all. So you also do, you will get the Atma Sakshatkara. God will come if you want God to come also. So you do that one. So that effort must be there, that thinking. So if everybody can become a superhuman, if they have that willpower and they work for that, they understand the need. Again, we come back to this place. They understand the need and then they go for that one. No more excuses. Enough is enough. Shaolin, let's go home. Type of thing. So that is the important thing. That is how a normal person becomes a superhuman in others' eyes. We don't have any 2 horns on the head. I didn't have any 4 limbs or hands or heads, nothing. Just like you all, I was also born as a human being. Simply became dedicated, disciplined. The mind became so single-pointed. When it fell in love with the master, it really fell in love with the master. Didn't bother whether the master loved me or not. That was not important. There was no need for any reciprocal thing. I am here because I love my master. That's what we always thought. And then went we ahead, we did it. That's how. Then we drew his grace. When you have that faith, the grace also descends.
There was another question which links here now, I think. What inspired Babaji as a young child to adopt a spiritual life before meeting Swamiji?
First one is the death. When I listened to Adi Shankaracharya's Bhajagovindam, the first stanza's lines reads, Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karane. Means, sing the name of the divine, sing the glory of the divine, O fool, because when death happens to your physical body, none of your worldly wealth, power, health, anything cannot come to your rescue. Only the divine's grace. So This had such an impact at the age of 7 or 8. I became obsessed with death. What is it that dies? What causes the death? If it is we who are born and we who have to die, why do we have to die? If we are Atman, why is that I am not aware of that? That thought came. So this made me obsessed that there is some truth in spirituality. In our day-to-day life, it is needed. This Adi Shankara, all great spiritual yogis' teachings are needed. Then I started praying, "Oh Divine, bless me to have a guru who would have liberated himself and who can lead me to liberation." That became obsession. Liberation, liberation, liberation. There is something wrong in me or something wrong in this world which is impermanent. So liberation. So we became obsessed and we took up spirituality as a priority.
Thank you. So, also as a child, you spent a lot of time in the temple and even spending many hours sitting in a cave. When you were in the temple, what were you doing? How was it for you?
In the temple, often it was pouring my love without becoming too much emotional or distressed. Just love pouring. Idols used to be there. Early morning, nobody used to be in the temple, not even the priest would have come. So quietly, I go around talking to the idols. They were my best friends type. Everything I could pour out. So whatever I needed, show me a guru, bless me to have such a guru, give me such a guru who can lead me towards liberation. I need to know who I am. I need to become aware if I am that spirit, what is the truth? What the truth of God's existence? Is God a person? Why can't he come in front of me and talk to me? What is this truth after all? So how it can be helpful in our day-to-day life? Why am I born here like this? So though I am here, though everything is good in my home, why is that I am missing something? So like that I used to spend, and with chanting also, to loving the God was the basic exercise in the temple. And later, as slowly I became familiar with Ramana Maharishi's teachings, so that led me gradually. Then the priest once on the Chamandi Hill showed me that cave. If at that time you all also were close to going there, Nagara Tirtha is the place. So then I found that place very peaceful, quiet. The whole day almost I used to spend there. Observe, what Ramana Maharishi said, by closing the eye, observe from where the eye is coming. That's how I learned. When a couple of years, by next year I think I saw Swamiji already. Then what Swamiji initiated, he told the watch in between eyebrows, then it struck me, it is the same thing, just you observe or you just watch. You have to be quietly watching. You don't have to keep thinking, what is this, what is this. It is not a shop that there are hundreds of items are there, what is this, what is this. It is one thing. So these things came to me and that's how I could practice. Finally came to ashram. Before coming to ashram, I practiced like that.
Thank you. So, how is it for many people? They have work and family responsibilities, so they don't have much time for spiritual practice. How can they be spiritual outside of meditation?
See, I would remind everybody, Swamiji used to take, don't ever give excuse for time. Time is not available in a shopping complex. You have to take out. God has given that the earth revolves in its own axis in itself, and then it is 24 hours. So you have 24 hours. 1 hour, sincerely you meditate. In that 1 hour, don't waste time thinking, don't waste time brooding, don't waste time worrying, don't waste time judging, trying to know. Just keep quiet. Just watch in that 1 hour. that can take care of another 23 hours you have. You can sleep for 8 hours. You can earn your livelihood, and you can have some recreation also. You can go here and there, do everything. 1 hour you meditate. Don't tell that you don't have that 1 hour also. Then you are useless. You are an idiot, Swamiji used to tell. So you are the loser. You are not fit to be achieving anything in this world. Responsibility is a responsibility that you have accepted, you have adopted. When you have adopted, so you fulfill if you feel that as a responsibility. But if you want, you do it. You have to meditate. At least slowly, slowly, it will enable you to meditate more and more. Then you will learn to do the things only for your needs, maximum or minimum, sorry, maximum, not maximum, minimum that is required. Then you will learn to do it. You will also realize often nearly 50% we would have adopted useless things as responsibilities, as going here and there, and we have picked up habits. We have to go. So, like we have to go to a restaurant every day, sit and have a cup of coffee, gossip with friends. That also we consider as an essential thing. When we become habitual, it is not needed. So, like that, slowly when you realize, you can adapt and you can achieve.
So we should simplify our lives as much as possible, analyze what we're doing, and strip ourselves out of anything that's not
Very much
essential.
possible. This is very much possible. Slowly you will realize as you meditate, your mind will apply the wisdom properly. Is this is necessary, is this necessary? Then you will do everything only to the need. When it's absolutely necessary, then you do it.
Sometimes people who are in the world and they have maybe they do have responsibilities, but they want to give up the world. Is it always the right time to give up the world? How do people go about giving up the world?
Not necessary to give up the world, because Swamiji always tells to meditate you don't have to run to caves and forests. Ramana Maharishi also told you will be taking your mind also there. So it won't allow you to sit peacefully. We have seen many people who have a chance to sit in a room peacefully, but they cannot sit because they are habitual. They have to do something. They have to scratch the wall, they have to scratch the ground, they have to scratch something on the phone, they have to do something. Otherwise, they become restless, they are unhappy. So that habits are their minds, habits. Until the mind is able to settle down peacefully, then wherever you are, you can remain at peace. In the midst of market also, you can have your peace, because slowly your mind would have got converted to do only to the need. Unnecessarily don't poke your finger here and there. Often you see people around you wasting their time whole day criticizing others, making judgment about others. The same story that Swamiji used to tell. One more time I will tell you all. Remember, there was one monk living, and the king of that place brought a prostitute and built a small home in front of the monk's ashram there. So the monk became very much worried. Oh God, now this prostitute has come here. All wrong people will be coming. She is a sinner. So every day, every person came there. He used to count by keeping a stone. Oh, now she has done one sin, another sin, like that. His mind became preoccupied with the prostitute all the time, though he was in the ashram. But at the same time, one day the prostitute happened to see that monk. She became very much impressed. How peaceful, how beautiful, what a beautiful life this monk is. My life is really very bad. So she started considering that monk as a guru and praying to him all the time, every day, and her mind started becoming purified and purified. Finally, the story tells when the prostitute died, the divine's attendants came and took her to the divine's abode, and Yamarajas, the death god's attendants came to take this monk. This monk protests, I had been a monk throughout my life. Where were you a monk? Throughout your life you are remembering and chanting the prostitute's name and her sins in the mind all the time. That was what you are doing, and your mind has become so corrupted, you cannot get liberated in this. You have to come back to this world again, and you have to purify your mind. Her mind became purified thinking about you all the time. So it is the mind what matters. Mind.
Thank you. Several people have asked, how do we maintain mental peace whilst in the world? Particularly, some people have difficult people they live with, perhaps within their family, or they have work where they're dealing with very difficult situations, very challenging people. How can they maintain mental peace even in those extremes?
See, mental peace comes when you are able to keep the mind quiet, when you are able to keep the mind at peace. So, when you practice meditation, you will become matured and you will think, this is all their attitude, let them keep bothering. You don't. Like when somebody came and used wrong language and scolded Buddha, Buddha said, when somebody gives you a gift and if you don't want, what will you do? I will give it back to the person who gave. In the same way, I don't need your scoldings. You take back your wrong language. I don't need that one. The Buddha remained at peace because he had practiced that penance, tapas, that long, deep meditation. That is why, since childhood, if one can pick up spiritual life and practice every day, then you can live in the adverse conditions. We have lived in the midst of such people who have been really rude, really nonsense. Oh, not at all human beings. You will tend to think animals are better, even the demons could be better, that type of thing. But at all times we could keep our mind at peace, practicing meditation and always trying to think this is impermanent world, this person's immature. But you have to defend yourself physically, your properties, your things, that is necessary. Otherwise, this world will not allow you to live at all. Then make your peace mentally. Always don't keep remembering that wrong human being. Always, you don't have to. Just defend yourself. That's what we learned. Even in the adverse conditions, anybody was wrong and very violent or brute. So I always learn to keep myself at peace, but defend myself if necessary, wherever that is needed. You have, that's why even if any disciple comes to me, I teach, you keep your money, that is very necessary in this world. If you don't have even a single penny, people can humiliate you, and that would be very difficult for you to bear with that. You will lose the spiritual path. Even if you are in a monastery, you come anywhere, you meditate, you earn 2 rupees for you, $2 for you, keep it for yourself. Such things are very necessary. You don't have to be greedy, but you have to defend yourself. You don't have to be all the time hungry. You don't have to bear with humiliations from other. If somebody is humiliating, if that place is not proper, leave that place and have your own place. So that is important. Or if you can bear with humiliation, then you can get liberated. That is the final test for the mind. Like a mechanic accelerates the car and tests the brake also by applying it. Like that, when somebody is so humiliating you, they are humiliating, and you watch your own mind. Can it remain at peace? Can it remain quiet? Then you have achieved something really. You have really meditated. Otherwise, you can be sitting for 40 years closing your eyes. You are arrogant, you are ego, you have no peace, you keep criticizing others, all these things. So you have not meditated at all. So spiritual exercise is the remedy. That is the one thing which can protect you in this world. When you have to live, it's like living in the midst of 32 teeth. Tongue cannot run away. You cannot cut and throw the tongue, because there is always a danger that the teeth can bite it. Instead, you are harming more by cutting the tongue. That type of situation comes when you have to live. When you are a soldier, you have to live like that one. You cannot run away. If you can live there and skillfully move in the midst of the 32 teeth, up and down and here and there, and remain unattached. Like Swamiji used to tell, look at the tongue. If anything is tasty, it puts it inside, it swallows inside. If anything is not tasty, it will simply spit. It doesn't keep anything for itself. But it has to be very careful. All the time, 32 enemies are ready to bite it if it becomes careful. So you have to be careful in this world.
Jesus taught about not being bothered about the speck in your brother's eye, but to take the plank out of your own eye. Is that similar to what Babaji teaches about not being critical of others, but should we be critical of ourselves?
Yeah, you see, he meant same in the mentally. Do not entertain hatred mentally, because your mind will become corrupted. All the time, if you are thinking, so when you sit in front of the divine, when you want to pray also, your mind will be corrupted and will start thinking of the hatred things. Avoid such things. Don't bother such things. This is a different thing. So these two things are different. Mentally keeping yourself pure and at peace is different. But when you need to defend your property, defending yourself is different. So these two things should not be mixed. Physically, mentally are two different things. Mentally, don't allow your mind to become corrupted and you will lose peace. 67 years for Babaji's body today. We saw so many things. We saw good people, we saw bad people, we saw roses, we saw thorns. But at all times we tried to keep our mind at peace. If we had allowed our mind to become corrupted, I would have destroyed myself. There wouldn't have been any achieving of self-realization, supreme peace, all would have gone with the wind.
So should we be critical and tough to ourselves if we do something wrong?
Yeah. That is why we should not become a victim of our own wrong things, hatred or corruptions, these things. That's important. That is why the 6 enemies, they are called Arishad Varga: Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Extreme anger, extreme greed, extreme attachment to materialistic, about this impermanent world, false pride, arrogance and jealousy. If you keep entertaining all the time, if you are jealous of the other, you become jealous about yourself actually. Thank you, Michael, for helping me to express my opinions, giving answers. My love to all participants, my blessings. We pray to the Divine Guru to bless you all.